My name is Dan Nicolaescu. I am a certified cognac educator with Bureau National Interprofessionnel de Cognac. I have been gainfully employed in the beverage alcohol business for a little over 2 decades. In this period of time, I have worked as a sommelier, bartender, a bar manager, a spirit specialist, a spirits expert, etc., etc. I am very happy to have the opportunity to have this tasting with you. And I would also like to introduce our guest today. It is Mylène Jardin, the chocolatier, the very talented chocolatier that created all these delicious chocolates that we have in front of us. How are you doing, Mylène?
I'm good. Thank you for introducing me, Dan. Hello, everyone. I'm excited to share my chocolate with you.
Yes, this is going to be a really, really great tasting that we have tonight. If you have any questions, I would like you please to use the chat. And I would also like to tell you about our rules for this particular tasting. So rule number 1, I would like this to be an interactive conversation. Rule number 2, there is no such thing as a wrong question. So any questions whatsoever are more than welcome. I would like to ask you to please tag us on social media with Cognac USA, Love Cognac, and Cognac and Chocolate. Okay, good. Should we please start the presentation? So what is cognac? For our purposes tonight, we're going to focus on 2 things. Number 1, Cognac is a town which is located in the southwest of France in the region called Charente. Secondly, and most importantly for us, it is a distilled spirit made with grape wine, double distilled in copper pot stills and matured in oak casks with a very rich history of over 400 years. The region is the second biggest wine producer and the fourth largest by size in France. If we're going to move to the next slide, I would like to show you also the appellation, which is further divided in 6 subregions called crus. We do have, I'm not sure if you can see my scroll, but we have Grand Champagne, Petit Champagne, Borderie, Fambois, Bombois, and Bois Ordinaire. This region is delimited and protected by law since 1936. Okay, now I think that we should start to taste a little bit of cognac and to taste some chocolate. What do you guys think?
I agree.
Good.
Let's do it.
I agree too.
Excellent. So our first pairing is going to be Cognac de Luz, Fin Champagne, and we're going to try this with the dark chocolate truffle. I would like to show you also how to taste cognac from a professional point of view. So everybody received a tulip glass or a set of 2 tulip glasses, correct? All right, perfect, perfect. Now, tasting spirits is a little different than tasting wine or beer due to the fact that we have a higher percentage of alcohol. So what we want to do, we're going to pour some in our glass. And I would advise against swirling. The reason is that when we swirl the glass, a lot of ethanol is going to evaporate. So when we're going to start to smell the cognac, it's going to be overly alcoholic. My suggestion is that we roll gently the cognac inside the glass. And then we're going to try to bring this glass close to our nose and find what our comfort zone is. Some people are a little more sensitive than others to the strength of alcohol. There is no right or wrong answer to this stuff. So whatever works for you and whatever makes you comfortable. All right. So Deleuze, it is a cognac made by the Wano family, which has been in the region since 1640. This is a VS level of quality, which means that it has been matured for at least 2 years in casks. It is a fin champagne. Fin champagne means that the cognacs in this particular blend have to be from Grand Champagne and Petit Champagne, with at least 50% from Grand Champagne. All right. So everybody has their chocolates out?
Yes.
Yes. All right. Excellent. Milan, do you want to tell us something about the chocolate that we're going to have with this cognac?
Yes, so this chocolate truffle, it's the one furthermost on the left. So it has the cocoa powder on top. It's 3 levels of dark chocolate. You have cocoa powder dusted on top, that's 100%. You have the ganache, that's a 70%. And then you have the shell, that is a 55%. So 3 different levels of dark. And that inside ganache is chocolate, cream, and butter. Extra butter. This is kind of our truffle that we pay respect to the French with, and the French love butter. So we put extra butter in this truffle. And you'll see when you take a bite how well it goes with this cognac. You want to tell them, Dan, why it goes so well.
All right. So first of all, let us try the cognac.
Okay.
So what I would like to hear from you is, what do you experience when you smell and when you taste this cognac? Please write things in the chat box, or if you have your microphones unmuted, I'm more than interested to hear what you guys have to say.
Sweet. I have some wood in it.
Okay.
From the cask is coming through.
Is this cognac fruity? Is this cognac floral? What do you think about it?
I think it's more fruity.
Okay.
It's definitely sweet.
Okay. Do you think this is rich in intensity? Is soft in intensity?
That I wouldn't know. I like it. That's all I can say. How's that? Does that work as an answer?
It does, as I said.
By the way, I'm Mary Lee. And
hello.
My husband, Antonio.
Hello, Antonio. Very nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
So let's take a sip. And let's take a bite of the chocolate.
Oh my God.
Oh God.
I'm in heaven.
Jesus.
How good is that, right?
Wow.
So what do you think about the marriage of flavors? What do you think about the intensity? Is this a good match for you?
Yes.
What do you like about it? Do you like the richness of the chocolate?
Is the richness of the chocolate after the fruitiness of the cognac. Nice. It's like it really makes the chocolate like richer, I think.
Okay.
I think it makes the cognac smoother.
Oh, there you go.
Do you think
I was just gonna say the same thing, that it definitely felt really well balanced, in my opinion. The sweetness from the cognac mixed with the richness from the dark chocolate was like the perfect combination.
Oh wow.
I agree.
Okay. Do you think that the intensity of the flavor matches and
Yes.
the texture as well?
Actually, when I was swallowing the chocolate and the cognac together, the textures just married beautifully. So I will definitely say the intensity was a bit softer once I actually tasted it. Before, when I just smelled it, I was expecting something a bit stronger, if you will, but I love how smooth it was and just that hint of honey.
Do you feel that they enhance each other?
Most definitely.
Yes, definitely.
Milan, what do you think?
I agree. I mean, we're playing too with textures with the truffle. So you have a hard shell and then you have that creamy ganache. And that hard shell is done by tempering. I don't know if anyone's familiar with tempering, but it's a way of really stabilizing the chocolate where we melt it at about 120 degrees, and then we bring it down to about 90 while the room is at 65. If anyone tries to temper chocolate at home, you want to do it in a cold room. A hot room's going to make it very hard. And when you do that, it breaks down the sugar crystals and really stabilizes the chocolate. So you have that crispness to it. And then that
All right.
creamy inside, it's just a nice play and texture.
That's an amazing truffle.
So now that we have learned a little bit about tempering chocolate, which is an art of itself, let's go to the next slide and let's find out how actually we make cognac. So as I have mentioned earlier, cognac is distilled out of grape wine. We need about 9 liters of wine to make 1 liter of cognac. On the next slide, we're gonna also see how our stills are designed and their shape. This is called a Charente still. It is an alembic. They have to be made out of 100% copper. In the appellation, there are about 3,000 of these stills. There are 265 merchant houses and 119 professional distillers. Okay, if we're moving on to the next slide, this is a diagram on how the still operates. As you can see, there is an onion-shaped container right in the center. This is where the wine is being preheated. It flows into the copper still. The copper still, by the way, has to be always heated by direct fire. It is either gas or wood, no oil. Once the wine is going to be heated to a certain temperature, the vapors, the alcoholic vapors, are going to race through this little thing called the chapiteau, through the swan's neck, and they're going to go to a condenser. Now, we do have 2 distillations required by law. The first distillation is basically just recovery of all the alcohol from the wine. And in the second distillation, we make different cuts and different alcohols that we want to keep for maturation or not. All right, let's move on to the next slide.
I think we have one question.
Please.
Oh, I guess that's my cue. Hi, everyone. I'm Cache. I just had a question about proper storage temperature. I didn't know if having it on the bar or my bar card is actually good for said cognac, or does it depend on the type?
The cognac itself or the chocolate we're talking about?
The cognac.
Room temperature. Absolutely, it's absolutely fine to keep it at room temperature. The cognac is stable already by the time it's bottled. Nothing is going to go bad with it. There are certain ways to pair it as well. So I would recommend sometimes a younger cognac as a VS level to be kept in the freezer, and actually it pairs very, very well with oysters.
Oh,
Ooh, you said the
Surprised,
max.
right? I was surprised myself when I had it the first time. Yes, but otherwise at room temperature. Ultimately, you can drink it as you please, but the product is shelf stable.
Okay.
Indefinitely, it never goes bad.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
You are very welcome. All right, are we ready for the next cognac?
yes.
All right, excellent. So we are going to have the next cognac. Comes in a very small bottle here. This is Cognac No, and this is a VSOP level. VSOP means very superior old and pale, and it has to be matured for at least 4 years. And we are going to pair this with our rosemary bar. By the way, the tulip glasses that you have received can be used with any other spirits. So those are versatile for, you know, if you want to drink whiskey, rums, tequilas, etc., etc. But they are perfectly shaped for cognac. Okay.
It's tasty.
So, can somebody tell me what does this smell like?
Very different from the first one.
It has a smoother aroma.
Okay. Is this a little more floral? Is this fruitier? Do we see signs of maturation?
Or I would say floral.
Mm,
Okay.
fuerte también.
Is-
Yeah.
It is a little more floral. We also, I think that we developed a little pastry note to it as well,
this
which is characteristics to cognacs of this particular age.
that's
Smells
Do you
nice.
think it is more intense than the first
It
one?
is more intense, no question about it. I find that tasting it is more intense.
But I like it better than the other.
Oh, see?
Okay.
It is.
So this is produced by the No family. The No family have been cognac producers for 5 generations. And let us taste our rosemary bar. Are we ready?
Sure. I'm always ready for chocolate.
That's the perfect answer.
I know.
So if everyone opens up the bar, they can see just how thin it is. And we do that on purpose so that when you take a piece of it, the rosemary really comes out. So I hope you all like rosemary because what
I
we're
love
doing,
rosemary.
love rosemary.
good, good.
I
Because we're
infuse a
taking-
lot of my gin and I mean and some of my spirits with rosemary. I love it.
Oh, good. So what we
Oh.
do is we take rosemary, it's dried and then it's minced to a powder. And then while we're tempering the chocolate, while we're letting it cool, we put it in our wheelie machine to cool down and we sprinkle the rosemary powder in to blend it. So you're gonna get an even taste of rosemary in every bite. I don't like when bars say they have a flavor of something and someone just puts the piece of fruit or herb on the back. And then you don't always get the, the right piece to taste the herb. You're gonna taste the herb throughout. So what do you guys think of this pairing together?
Yes. What do you think? How does the cognac work for you with the rosemary?
Amazing pairing. You almost are like fresh rosemary out of the garden, right?
Mhm.
Right there. It's like you just
Yes.
picked it. And then that dark notes of the chocolate really just pop it. And then you add the cognac in and it's just a fantastic pairing.
It
Well
is.
done.
I think it intensified the flavor of
The cognac.
and it just gave you a nice aftertaste. It's really wonderful.
And I have to say the rosemary in the chocolate is just beautifully, I mean, it's not too overpowering. You can taste it. It's it's rosemary, but it's not, it's just beautifully balanced with the chocolate. I'm
Thank
impressed.
you.
Also,
Yeah,
I
we
think
don't
that
like when- oh, sorry.
this cognac being a little older, we also have a slight tannic presence to it that works very, very well with the rosemary. VSOP, as I mentioned earlier, it has to be matured for at least 4 years. Cognac has to be matured in French oak. And these casks can be used for maturation of cognac prior, but they cannot have any other spirit in them before. So in comparison to other industries, let's say the rum industry or the tequila industry or the whiskey industry, where casks that previously had, let's say, American whiskey in them can be reused, the casks for cognac, they're either brand new or they had cognac in them before.
Very interesting.
So what do you think about the pairing?
Love it.
Excellent.
Excellent.
So far, so good?
Nicely,
so good.
nicely done. Yes.
Yes.
Excellent, excellent. All right, let's see our next slide. Okay, so we have we mentioned the casks. The art of cask making, it's extremely important. The casks are all made by hand. Even today in cooperages, there is very little automation. 90% of the work is done by hand. It is truly an art because the casks are joined together without nails. And I strongly encourage you, if you ever have the opportunity to go to a cooperage, usually they have very, very tiny casks set on the side for visitors to try their hand. I strongly encourage you to try to make a small cask. I think the level of appreciation towards this art is going to just raise a little bit when we see how complicated it is. The casks are either steamed or they are toasted inside. and this is going to change their physical structure and also their molecular structure. So all the aromas that we get as vanilla, for example, coconut, nutmeg, everything comes actually naturally from the oak. Do you guys have any questions about this? All right, then let's move on to the next slide. All right, the next pairing. The next pairing is going to be Maxime Trijol, the EXO, and we're going to taste you the toasted coconut, lime, and leaf bar. Now, there was a slight mishap, and we have received actually the VSOP. That being said, I remember vividly how delicious the EXO is, and I want to hear you guys telling me how this pairing works and why it works, if it works, or if it doesn't work, why it doesn't work. Maxime Trijol, it is a vertically integrated business. That means that they grow the grapes, they vinify the grapes, they distill, mature, and bottle everything by themselves.
Sweeter.
It's sweet.
There's a very tropical note to that when you smell it. It just feels like the tropics.
Mm-hmm.
Sweet, right?
Mhm.
What do you think about the synergy between the cognac and the chocolate?
Once again, bringing back that tropical note, it works really well with the coconut in the chocolate.
Mm-hmm. So we have a question, how long this is aged. EXO as a category means that the youngest cognac in the blend is at least 10 years of age.
Oh,
In general, there are cognacs much older. There is a whole art to blending, and cognac, most of it is a blended spirit. The reason is that you want to have different cognacs that complement each other. Some of them are very exuberant in terms of fruit. Some of them are perhaps developing tertiary notes as wood, leather, tobacco, mushroom. And think about when you make a dish and you add different components together for the whole idea that the sum is greater than the parts. So with an EXO level cognac, there's sometimes a pretty high percentage of cognacs that are mature much longer. We're talking 30, 40, 50, 60 years of age.
Oh, I was going to ask you how long, what is the longest that a cognac has been aged?
I do not have the answer to that question. That being said, I was fortunate enough to taste cognacs that have been matured in casks over 8 years of age.
Mm-hmm.
But as with everything else in life, we're reaching a point of diminished returns. You know, there is a certain zenith, and certain cognacs, for example, mature faster than others. They are very much as human beings. Some of us mature faster, some of us mature nicer, some of us never mature. So that being said, the different crews have different characteristics. So, for example, Grand Champagne, the cognacs from Grand Champagne, they have the longest longevity in casks. For example, cognacs from Femme Boire, very fruity, and usually that fruit disappears after 15, 20 years of maturation. So usually they are used as a younger product. But it's all about how to find the balance to make something that is very attractive. Mm-hmm. Think about how somebody would make a perfume. Actually, the the profession as master blender in the cognac industry, it's a very, very coveted profession, and it's very hard to become a master blender. It takes 10 years of training to become a blender. It is very important to have a very good understanding of all the crews, of the products, why they differ, and to be able to have consistency in the style of the house.
And to add to that, chocolate too, when it's fermented, the molecules create these esters that have fruity notes that you can really taste in this blend, because we put just a hint of lime leaf with the coconut to get that tropical feel. It just adds a little bit of warmth and sweetness to it that I think you guys are all picking up.
So what do you think?
Amazing.
Good.
I
Thumbs
liked
up, thumbs down.
I liked it better with chocolate because the sweetness and the bitterness kind of balanced each other out.
Okay. Any more questions regarding this pairing? All right, let's move on. Let's see our next slide. All right, our next slide here shows us the aging categories. This can get fairly complicated, but it's very, very important for the producers to keep track with all the aging requirements. Just very easy to remember, VS has to be matured for at least 2 years, VSOP 4 years, Napoleon 6 years, XO 10 years, and XXO at least 14 years of age. All right, okay, let's see the next pairing. All right, this is one of my favorites. So we do have Bosch Gabrielsen cognac. Bosch Gabrielsen was founded by Thomas Bosch Gabrielsen in 1905 in Norway. This particular blend was launched in 1916 with the beginning of prohibition in Norway. And the track course, it's a VS quality. So at least 2 years of maturation in casks. All right, let's smell the cognac and tell me, please, if you find this very different than the other ones, and how so?
It's lighter.
It is lighter. No, it smells lighter.
The other slide, the Napoleon, I don't
Yeah.
think I've ever run across a Napoleon. Is that fairly rare to get? Because I always see XOs or VSOPs or VSs.
They are not marketed extensively for the US market. You can find them much more often in Europe.
Okay, thank you.
And absolutely. And let's not forget, this is the minimum age. Some of the producers actually employ cognacs that are much older. There are producers, for example, that their VSOP is 15 to 20 years of age. Okay, so what do you think about the cognac, and what do you think about the pairing?
Well, we're gonna try the pairing now. Hold on.
So yeah, the chocolate, the predominant note in it is ginger. Then you have the turmeric, and then you have that hint of black pepper to really balance it and help open up the flavors.
Wow, this is like heaven. Wow.
The dried fruit flavors off this one is really, really amazing. That you get like a golden raisin note that it feels like that fresh like golden raisin, right? Right when you open the box and you get that real aroma of golden raisin.
Mm.
What do you think about the pairing? Do they work?
It works.
Oh my God.
It works?
It works. It brings, like you said, that raisin, that fruitiness from the cognac. And I have to say the chocolate
That's
has
great.
that layer of flavor that
Oh my God.
it comes through. Every time you go around your mouth, something comes up. So you have the ginger and then really complex, very, very delicious. And we're able to taste everything. Beautifully paired with
Oh my God, this is
this
delicious.
cognac. I have to say all the cognacs have been amazing.
This is my favorite. This is awesome.
And I hope I can find them only here in the US because they are unreal.
Those have distribution in the United States. You are able to find them. So Liza mentioned that this cognac is very, very different in terms of aromas and flavor than the other ones. So the reason is that the majority of the cognacs in this blend come from the smallest of the appellations called Borderie. And cognacs from the Borderie region have a very pronounced nuttiness and violet aroma to them. Do you guys find these notes?
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
Yeah, I think it's.
I find the nuts at like a finishing note, right after you. Once you swallow it, then the nuttiness comes through. Like almost like almond, I would say.
Excellent, excellent. So far, which is your favorite pairing?
This one.
I love Antonio will taste. And have you noticed that every time there's a new one, he goes, "This is my favorite."
No, this is really.
They're all very good. It's hard to pick because they're different in their own right way. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
But
But
so far,
if I had to pick, this would be.
yeah, I like the nod. It's very nice. But
I
don't-
personally really like the diversity in
Yes.
flavors and aromas.
Yes, they're very different, and yet they're cognac, but they're very different.
Sure.
Very
I
good.
think actually the rosemary was really amazing.
Mhm.
Just like the freshness of the
Nod.
chocolate
Mhm.
on
Yeah,
that nod
agreed.
nod was really like it was so fresh,
Mhm.
and then it really like opened up when you had that with the chocolate.
Yes, agreed. Amazing. Very good.
Excellent. All right, let's move on to the next slide. So these are some aromas that we can find in cognacs. As I mentioned earlier, younger cognacs are going to be floral or have aromas of ripe fruits. As we move into older cognacs as VSOP, the pastry note comes into play, a little candied fruit note, the spices. As we progress in age, we have a stronger wood influence, more leathery tobacco notes to them. Something very interesting develops also. It's called rancio. It is a very desirable, actually, aroma in cognacs. And this rancio note smells like a combination between soy sauce, mushrooms, and butter. And it is absolutely delicious. Now, not all cognacs develop rancio. And in my opinion, this should be fleeting. It should come and go. Otherwise, it can overpower the cognac. And very, 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 very old cognacs actually develop aromas of passion fruit, raspberries, very, very, very fine notes of that. So far, do you have any favorite cognac without the pairing with the chocolate out of those? Do you have a preference for younger cognac, older cognac?
I love this one. This one was. This is the older one, right?
Yeah,
The last one.
So the Maxime Trijol, the XO, was the oldest one.
I think that's
This one.
no.
No,
Yeah,
is
that's it. I know, right?
no, that's when we just.
This one, the
Yes, that is the one.
visual.
Maxime
That's what I
Trijol.
thought. That's the
The Maxime was really complex.
yes.
I think the combination of the wood with the fruit
Yeah.
was
Mhm,
really
mhm.
amazing.
Yeah,
But I'm partial to aged spirits, so
yeah. It's also like a richer, like it has
Style.
more depth
Mhm, mhm.
when you taste it compared to the other ones. Definitely, I love this. Yeah, very amazing. But I found that the depth is noticeable.
Mhm. Yes, a little more muscular.
Yes.
Okay, let's move on to our next slide. And this is going to be the last cognac we're going to taste today. This is Hardy XO, and we're going to pair this with the orange truffle. Hardy family has been making cognac for 150 years. These days, the company is held by a lady called Benedict Hardy. Then we have actually a picture with her on the screen. She's an encyclopedia of cognac, and absolutely every single conversation with her is a joy. So,
Okay,
I would like you to tell me what you find in this cognac and what do you find in the chocolate and how the pairing works.
Very mild.
very smooth. I think it's the smoothest,
Mhm.
the most, yeah, very smooth.
Lighter.
Yeah, we're taking fresh oranges. We take the zest, just the orange part, none of the white, and we brew it in the cream.
Wow.
We add a little bit of liqueur just to kind of, amplify the orange. And then we take the peel out and we emulsify it into the chocolate and the butter and make that creamy ganache. So it's refreshing, it's soft, and we felt it was a great way to end this pairing.
I like it with the pairing because the orange just pops it up. It's light, so
Ups the
mild.
flavors of
Yeah,
the
it does.
cognac.
Yeah.
It's a very pure flavor.
Yes,
Great flavor, no bitterness to it.
Oh.
Very concentrated and streamlined, I would say. Excellent job.
very good. This has been outstanding. I love it.
So, do you think the chocolate enhances the cognac, or the cognac enhances the
I
chocolate?
like the chocolate and the cognac, and I'm telling you, if they don't have this in heaven, I'm not dying, I'm not going, okay?
You're not going.
No, I mean, the moment that God says to me, no cognac or
Chocolate.
the chocolate has to be these chocolates. I'm not going anywhere.
Well,
Okay,
you
so-
let us know. Let's make heaven on earth and we can get you as much chocolate.
There
and
you
cognac as
go.
you
That's
need.
what we're making right now. Heaven on earth.
Absolutely.
Exactly. Also, there's something called angel share in the matured spirits industry, which refers to the evaporation out of the casks. And in cognac, we have a rate of about 1.5 to 2% every single year. So the longer you mature something, the more you're going to lose to. Some people call them angels. Personally, I call them devils, though, because these angels would definitely not steal the cognac. But it goes somewhere. And this also concentrates the spirit and develops tertiary aromas to it.
Wow. Outstanding.
This has been amazing.
Okay, Ashley says this was her favorite. What do you guys think? If we have a ranking of some sorts, and I know it's very, very hard to rank something like this, and it's not fair either, but what would be your ranking?
Oh man, that's hard.
I would say Maxime. The Maxime would be
Number one.
for me, my favorite. And let's see.
I think this one is like number two, but it's a very close second.
Yes.
The rosemary chocolate was I think so unique and such a different take on chocolate, where you had that herb, which was still amazing.
Yeah.
But it is amazing how you had the orange in the chocolate and you got that, and it changed how this one, the Hardy immediately, it lightened.
Yeah.
And became so much more citrusy and that it just lightened it.
Yeah.
And when you had it initially by itself, it had a syrupy flavor and mouthfeel to it, which is really interesting.
Sweet. Yeah.
We had a very interesting question. If the casks are being topped during the maturation of cognac, this depends on the house style. The maturation of cognac is dynamic, so the casks are always checked Sometimes they are wrecked from a cask to the other one. Let's say that you want to have a little more tannins into the cognac. You might transfer the cognac into a brand new cask. Let's say that you had enough tannins, then you want to take the cognac out of a new cask into one huge cask that depletes its tannins. So it is very, very dynamic, and depending on what style needs to be achieved. For example, if you have something that you're going to market as young and very, very fruity, you don't want to have a lot of oxidation. So then you might top the casks. If you are looking for something to mature for a very, very long time, well, most of the producers are going to just let natural evaporation from the cask concentrate the spirit and the aromas.
Very nice.
All right, let's go on the next on our next slide. Okay, this is something that we have touched a little bit at the beginning, that texture is very, very important, intensity of flavor, depth of flavor, I consider to be very important in any pairings. Milan, what do you think? How would you pair chocolate?
Well, since we add fresh herbs in our chocolate, we like to play off the herbs and not just the old traditional rule where the liquor or the spirit should be sweeter than the chocolate. We're doing something different here. Like when we are making these truffles, we're not adding any glucose to the ganache to sweeten it or tone down the flavor. We want the herbs, the spices, the fruit to really come to life. And then we use those notes to kind of pair back to the spirit. So breaking the rules a little bit, but we find it a lot more fun that way.
Okay, do we have any other questions regarding the production of cognac, regarding the region, styles, any other pairings? I'm sorry, I cannot give any advice for Valentine's though,
So one question, is cognac like wine, where they talk about sometimes the harder the grape has to work, the better the wine? Does that rule hold true for cognac?
No, it is quite the opposite. And there are reasons why. You are interested to have plants that are fairly young and they are very vigorous, because you are interested to make a wine that is not very high in alcoholic concentration and is very high in acidity. It is forbidden by law to add any antiseptic agents to the wine. And for most of the part, the wine is distilled as soon as the fermentation ends, right? So you want to have high acidity because you want to preserve the wine, and you want to have a lower alcoholic percentage because you are going to concentrate that. So think about it this way. If you have a wine that is at 8% alcohol and you're going to distill it twice, and let's say we remove this from the still at 72% alcohol, we concentrate it 9 times, right? If we have something that is 11% alcohol, let's say, or 12% alcohol, and we distill it to 72, we concentrated the flavors and the alcoholic percentage only 6 times. So the interest is to have a vigorous plant that produces a lot of fruit that is not going to be overly ripe and is going to have very, very bright acidity. It is very different than what we consider to have grapes for fine wine.
Interesting.
Any more questions?
There's a question about the shelf life once a bottle is open. I know the answer, but you can give it more.
So there is no shelf life for cognacs. Cognacs, as long as you keep them upright, away from sources of heat or direct sunlight, they're going to last indefinitely. The reason is you don't want to keep them on the side. The cork is going to be is going to deteriorate in the contact with the higher percentage of alcohol. You don't want to keep it next to a source of heat because a lot of the volatile components are going to evaporate, and just keep it away from UV light. So if you have it in a cupboard or you have it at the home bar, it lasts much longer than we do. And there is also a very good question. This is very, very important. Is there a right way to enjoy cognac? Yes, the way you want. So
I was
you
typing the same thing.
you can drink it as you please. There is no cognac police, at least that I know of. So you can drink it as you please. It is your palate. It is your decision. You want to drink it in cocktails, it's very versatile. You want to drink it by itself, have it by itself. You want to drink it as an aperitif, it serves a purpose for that. You want to have it as a digestive, it serves a purpose as well. You want to drink it in the swimming pool, go for it. So there are no hard rules on how cognac and when cognac should be enjoyed. As you can see, there are so many different styles that you can always find actually a place for cognac. How do French drink it? French people drink it in cocktails and also by itself. Excellent. See, cognac and ice, fantastic. Whatever makes you happy. This is the most important thing. And we are all different. We all perceive flavors different. We all perceive aromas different. And yes, as you please. So please do not let absolutely anybody tell you how you should drink your cognac. Or if somebody says so, please refer them to me.
Will do.
Okay, do we have any more questions? Okay, so if there's no more questions, I would like to thank you all very much for taking time of your day to join us. I hope this was very. It was a fun tasting for you. It was definitely for me, and I wish everyone a happy Valentine's Day. And please do not forget, if you have any other questions, just direct them to me or direct them to BNIC. We'll be more than willing to answer.
Yes, thank you. We're also happy to have you. Happy Valentine's Day. Feel free to tag us too.